Welcome to the Fasting Podcast, Wow, Wellness and Optimal Weight. I'm your host, Julie Phillips, certified natural health professional, bringing you episode 132, Potassium and Fasting. Potassium is element 19 on the periodic table of elements and considered to be one of the most important minerals in the body, residing inside the cells where it doesn't typically show up on a blood test. It's called an essential mineral, not made in the body, so you get it from food, drink, supplements. One of the four key alkaline minerals, which sodium, potassium, magnesium, and calcium, it needs to be in balance. So potassium especially needs to be in balance with sodium for the sodium-potassium pump. That does not mean that you need the same amount of each of those nutrients. It's that sodium is residing, the good sodium outside the cells and the good potassium inside the cells. An electrolyte is electrically charged in solution, aids the fluid balance. So it's very, very important for the sodium-potassium pump in all of our cells. Now this is interesting origin. If you burn any plant to the ash state, put the ash in a pot of water, stir it, skim it off, let the water evaporate. What is left is a white residue at the bottom known as pot ash. And it's been used for many years for making things like soap, glass, fertilizers, bleach, etc. In 1807, a new element for the periodic table was discovered in this, what they called vegetable alkali, and they called it potassium. This origination emphasizes that the most concentrated source of potassium in our diets is plants. Adults may target 4,700 milligrams a day, which is much higher than the other important minerals or nutrients. Benefits are so many, but to name a few: muscle and nerve support, regular heartbeat, fluid and pH balancing, cognitive and mood support, avoiding cramps, regulating bowel movements, synthesizing protein, and metabolizing carbs. Very important. So let's talk about a few fasting considerations. In intermittent fasting, and especially prolonged fasting, potassium intake into your body can be lessened. Potassium and other minerals do not break a pure water fast if you get them via supplements. During a fast, kidneys expel the extra waters because insulin levels are low, and with it, minerals like magnesium, sodium, potassium are also expelled. If you're already low in potassium levels, which many people are deficient, yet they may be unaware because it doesn't show up on a blood test. Remember, the potassium is residing in the cells, and therefore not much would show up in the blood. Then it's important to watch for signs of deficiency during fasting. There is one doctor, Fung, that has run a fasting weight blood sugar clinic for years, claims that electrolyte balancing has not been a significant problem with his patients during intermittent fasting. Some possible deficiency signs: muscle cramping, irregular heartbeat, brain fog, memory loss, weak bones, kidney stones, high blood pressure, adrenal fatigue, alcoholism, constipation, apathy, nervousness, acne, dry skin. And people that may be at risk or contributing to the deficiency are those with diets low in vegetables and fruit, processed food diets, high sugar intake, high levels of stress, excessive workouts or overtraining, poor digestion, if you have heartburn, gas, bloating. What are some foods, and please always choose organic whenever possible, that are high in potassium? Well, here's a decent size list: Swiss chard, lima beans, acorn squash, spinach, avocados, sweet potatoes, wild-caught salmon, pomegranate, coconut water, white beans, bananas, sardines, unsalted dry roasted almonds, Brazil nuts, bok choy, beets, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cantaloupe, tomatoes, kiwi, figs, apricots, lentils, potato skins, and wheat germ. Now, if we've called out too many risk factors, deficiency signs, and foods, check out our website at the end for the slides used in this episode. Now, it's very important to know that you can have too much potassium, and this is the one that does show up in the blood, and actually the doctor might diagnose a person with hyperkalemia, Kalemia, as opposed to hypo with a deficiency. So hyperkalemia can be very dangerous. There are possible signs that you can watch for, but again, the doctor can diagnose this, so regular checkups with your doctors are important. Fatigue, weakness, chest pain, irregular heartbeat, numbness, tingling, nausea, vomiting, and some risk factors for having too much potassium are problems with your kidneys or kidney disease, Addison disease, type 1 diabetes, excessive potassium supplements, and certain prescriptions like ACE inhibitors and beta blockers. This is a very important problem where if you have too much potassium, it's crucial to work with your health professional and watch your diet so you don't add to the problem. There are different ways to get potassium into the body. Remember, it's essential. The body doesn't create it. So organic food, as we discussed, is a key way of getting it. And typically, just through organic food, you're not going to end up with a too much problem just by eating organic foods that contain potassium. There are a few herbs that are especially good with potassium: barley grass, blessed thistle, parsley, peppermint, and sage. And you also could use high-quality supplements, but if you do, you might want to note that many people that are deficient in potassium are also deficient in magnesium. So some supplements contain both potassium and magnesium. Now, where do you get the good quality sodium for the sodium-potassium pump? Pink sea salt actually has some of each of the electrolytes, and some people sprinkle it into their drinking water without tasting it, but not nearly enough potassium for our daily needs. So remember, the sodium-potassium pump with the fluid balance is crucial. And I have an episode 46 called My Favorite Supplement Ever, which is a potassium-based supplement from 1922, actually inspired by prayer, that has a lot of other ingredients besides potassium, and it is a phenomenal tool to consider. For questions and feedback, contact me, Julie, at jpwowprograms.com. And remember, the links to the slides are at jpwowprograms.com. Please refer others and give us a like if you're watching on YouTube, or give us a good rating on the podcast. Stay positive, focused, and determined, because where the mind goes, energy flows.